Hello, everybody. I'm Brooks Philippine with ManageXR, and today I'm joined by Peter. He is with Motive.io, and we're going to do a little bit of a Discover showcase where we speak with a development partner of ours about their work in the XR industry and the problems they're looking to solve. So, Peter, introduce yourself and introduce us to Motive.
My name is Peter Wittig. I'm the Director of Customer Experience at Motive.io, really working on partnerships with companies and other ISVs at the moment. So Motive.io is an XR training platform. We make the Motive XMS. Our focus is on enterprise, mostly Fortune 500s. The idea is what we want to help people do with the XMS is create training faster, capture those results, and then integrate those results into existing company systems like an LMS.
So as you kind of look around the landscape, what are some of the common problems that you're starting to see with enterprise XR deployments, and how does Motive.io kind of take a look and try to solve those?
Sure, and I think that's a great question because there's a few different points and journeys for people with XR. One of the biggest issues we see is when your pilot succeeds, because then you need a whole new set of things to be able to scale that within your organization. One of the main hurdles, I would say, is being able to pass an IT sec review. You want to make sure that the data that's coming from your XR training content is getting into an existing LMS that they're using for, say, online training, video training, other things. But to do that, you need a nice, secure piece of infrastructure. And so something that might be SOC 2 Type 2 certified, maybe they can run it on their own cloud, on-prem, AWS, Azure. And so we see a lot of these pilots succeed, but then never move forward. And so one of the things that we've done is created this piece of infrastructure. You can drop a nice lightweight SDK into your content, and then it will communicate with that infrastructure. We'll pass that IT sec review and do that integration. You'll get more services work. You'll continue to build amazing content, and the data is going to wind up where it needs to be. And those end clients are going to get the benefit of more XR training within their organization.
Yeah, I love that you touch on that. I think that pilot phase is so critical to the long-term success of an XR deployment. And often it's not necessarily the content that keeps it back. It's the infrastructure of working with an enterprise. And what I love about your company is you've kind of solved a lot of those problems already. And there's a way how you can basically help this industry grow by helping developers and content and enterprises push their pilots forward.
Just to make a point on that, you touch on this idea of, I think it's really important that companies work together to make sure that the end clients get what they need to help move the industry forward. And, we've seen so often an end client doesn't know they're going to hit those problems. So they'll pick a fantastic content producer, but that content producer won't have this piece. And that happens a few ways down the line. So if you're able to say, I'm ready to work with whoever you worked with to make sure you can keep doing what you're doing, what's good for your company, we're happy to be a part of that.
Now, when you're working with the end user, an enterprise kind of comes to your company, what are some of the other tools that you kind of work with them on, and what else can Motive.io kind of do for these customers?
That's a great question. I would say that the infrastructure is the essential piece for scaling. You need that. It's often the drier piece of what we have. The flashy thing that people tend to show up for is our authoring. We have a unique solution within the XR industry. We have the ability to create a completely custom 3D environment and then hook that to a web-based authoring tool. Now, the way I like to describe that is I use an analogy. So the way most people build VR training, they build it like a music box. And if you ever want to change the tune, you send it back to the person who built the machine, and they may not be a musician. We take the approach to say that 3D environment and whatever you create, it could be exactly like your workspace. That's your stage. It's your theater on which many different scripts can play out. And when it's hooked to that web-based authoring tool, that is the tool you can use to create the scripts that play out in your environment. Now, the real advantage of that is the workflow improvement. So in the old model, that music box model, you always have the Unity developers waiting on the trainers or the trainers waiting on the Unity devs. But if you're using our workflow and our authoring tool, once the initial scene is created, both of these groups can work in parallel. And for example, I wish I could name the company, but a Fortune 20 company that uses that tool was able to produce their content 66% faster using that model versus the old one. And given the amount of money they were saving by implementing the training, being able to produce more of that content faster was a big advantage. I would say too, you could do both hard and soft skills with that authoring tool.
I really like that. I think especially in some of these critical industries, let's say energy or oil and gas, no one is going to know their processes better than them. And so when you can kind of deliver them the tools and put the right tools in the hands of the instructors or the learning and development managers, they're the ones that are going to be able to create the best training. And so I like that you're kind of giving the power back to those that have to implement this training at the end of the day, and kind of lessening the gap between the Unity devs and the trainers, and kind of bringing them together in one platform that can really help scale their VR or AR program.
I'm glad, and we find it's very positive reception from both those groups, because you're letting both of them focus on what they do best. And why shouldn't the group who makes training in every other medium have a tool to make it in this highly effective one? And if you're an enterprise, of course you need a completely custom environment that matches your workspace. And so we say, there you go. Of course you should have those things.
So for those watching and listening today, Peter, how can people get in touch with your company, and how can they get started?
Sure. So contact me. We'll put my contact details in the comments below or in the message. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to see any of these things, I could tell you more about the infrastructure, show you a demo of the authoring tool. I'm more than happy to do that. And I would say too, I am focused on a few things. So if you are an XR content company and your client needs this infrastructure, come talk to us. You're going to get more services work from your client. Your client will be able to scale. We sit in the background. If you're that organization and you like your content company and they don't have that, come talk to us. Or if you want to produce content faster, again, give me a shout. And then
Awesome.
Of course,
thank you, Peter.
Talk to ManageXR.
Well, we're an infrastructure piece too, so we work right beside you, and at the end of the day, we're all here to try and scale XR programs and build this industry together. So we're excited to be your partner. We're excited to tell people about your company and look forward to our ongoing work. So get in touch with Peter and the Motiv team, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brooks.